It's Mark Husson's Astrology Hour. Time for you to expect something wonderful.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. This is Mark Husson. This is the Mark Husson Show, coming to you live November 13th, 2023 at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. on the East Coast. How are you? Happy new moon in Scorpio. I hope you guys are feeling it, because I am. I don't like that build up to the new moon. I just don't like it, because it's dark, and you think about the full moon, it's all lush and pregnant and big, and it's bright, and this sort of like dark and scary sort of new moon energy that sort of hides things, right? Even though I did do a postcard that said, when the sun goes away, the stars just go into full display. And it's sort of like when the moon is no longer lighting the sky, that happens. It's beautiful. And there are some beautiful things to get from this new moon. I'm going to talk to you about those. If you're new to the show, or if you haven't been here before, go on over to 12radio.com. This is a quick way to get to the Facebook page, by the way. If you would like to participate with us, you don't have to. There's certainly a million ways to do that. You go over to 12radio.com, and on the left-hand side, you click the chat button. It's a little link, says chat, the left-hand column, and you'll be brought over. You might have to be invited in. You just say you want to be invited, and we'll look for anybody asking to get in. And you'll see that Jay, my producer, amazing psychic, co-host with Carolyn, on Conversations, on Carolyn and Jay's Metaphysical Conversations right before me, his own show. Jay just does everything. And he's also a very supportive friend in person. So a lot of props to him. And he's put up the banner. And if you come in, I always click the, I scroll down just a little under the banner and say view more comments. So I can start at the top for myself, which I just get a warm fuzzy every time I see your name. Lynn Goldberg's in the house. Thank you, Lynn. Happy birthday. What? Scorpios never announce their birthdays, Lynn. That's so much growth and so much love. So much love to you. Happy day. It's on a new moon. Can you get that? Oh my gosh. I love it. Many hugs to you. Lynn has just been around and incredibly supportive for forever. And that's that Scorpio loyalty. I mean, I don't even like the word loyalty. It's it's a Scorpio consistency, I'll say. And it's just lovely. And thank you, Lynn. And the reason I don't say loyalty is, like, if she doesn't show, then she has to think that means she's being, disloyal. I hate that duality talk where, if something is this, the opposite has to be this, right? So, if diet and exercise keep you alive forever, then not dieting and not exercising has to kill you. So you have to do it for the rest of your life. Whatever. It's probably true. Tara, welcome. Or Tara, happy new moon Monday. Look at that. Happy new beginning. I love that graphic. It's hard to find new moon graphics because, what do you put a black dot up? And so thank you for that. That's very lovely. Ellsworth is in the house. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Maya, welcome to the room. Good morning. Truly's in the house. Terry. Scorpio new moon. Karen Erickson's here. Thank you so much, you guys, for all being here. I'll come back and check in on you, see how you all are doing. New moons, like I said, are pretty potent. I've been on a roll lately talking a lot about some of the personal developments that we can see as the planets reflect to us what they do, and they're not. I've been emphasizing this a lot lately. The planets aren't doing us, right? It's a collaboration. They're a metaphor. They're like when you pull a tarot card, and it's like what your subconscious mind does to interpret that is the gift, right? Is the moment where you're saying that nothing's a coincidence, that I'm connected to all things. We're connected to the planets. They're connected to us, the cosmic rays, whatever. And so we look to them sort of as a interpretation of what we're going through in our lives. We look to the planets as an interpretation, not as a what's coming. We do that because we love we love messing with everybody. Not me, but I do. It's like whoever has the fear has the power. If I can create fear, I have power over you. Like I learned that early on in the store when we had one of the greatest psychics. Denver was so revering this woman. And she used like just playing cards, which was even more spooky. You don't even need the pictures. What? And she was really good. But my mom went to see her. A lot of you know this story already. And my mom went upstairs. We were so excited because this woman was going to read for her. And mom comes down and she's like white faced. I mean, she's like pale. And it's like, what's going on? And she's like, she said, your father's going to die. And so what's my mom's first instinct? Call insurance and get him a life insurance policy. And so I was like, oh my God, what? And he was still working at the time. He was the principal of a technical school. So I went upstairs and just told the woman to please pack her stuff. And I said, I am so sorry, but you just ruined a woman's life. She'll never let go of that. And the woman said, well, the reader said, well, I just called it as I saw it. And I said, you called it as you interpreted it. Death looks like a many, many things. You can, be the death of your past, the death of a job, the death of a moment. And I know anybody that reads tarot, we've all learned how to sort of euphemistically change the death card. Because you see that death card and you're like, wait a minute, it means transformation, right? It does. But it's the first thing you learn to tone down because you're like, everyone's terrified of that card. And horror movies have a great time with the death card. It is the Scorpio card. So I want to talk about that too. But so I did fire her. I did ask her to leave, because I'm going to have to work with my mom now here to undo the damage. It turned out that my dad did retire. He had a death. He did leave. It was his last year. And that was like 25 years before he died. And so that's the cautionary tale too, that I always tell readers. That's why the readers at one2listen.com, and we are having a sale today. I have to plug them because I love them. They work hard for what they do. They work hard. If you've never been waiting by a phone to ring and somebody call with a problem and you're there to answer it, every therapist knows it. Every counselor knows it. Every psychic advisor knows it. It's taxing, and you have to build the skill for that. And that's why I love my team. That's why I love that we've been here for over 15 years online, but we started in 1989 doing this. So we kind of know the business, and that's why I don't allow predictions of death. I don't allow people to get into that because that's just subjective and it's irrelevant. So point is, this stuff sticks with you when you hear something. So people who have the fear have the power. That woman had power over my mom literally until my dad's death. My mom just was so believing it. And as years went on, she sort of let it go because she realized, okay, everyone's going to die sometimes. But point is, we don't try to scare people. We don't encourage that. And if you notice in your own life where you might be scaring people, you might be the one to call somebody excited to give them the bad news. You might be the first, there's people who, yeah. I was going to say, trust me, I know them. I grew up with them. They are the people who wait by their phone. And when something bad happens, oh my God, who am I going to call? And they just can't wait to call. I know it's embedded in my genetics. My sisters used to do that to me all the time. Wait for the news. So when the phone rings, you sort of get this sort of semi-dreading excitement that is this going to be bad news or good news? But it's going to be some kind of news because nobody calls with just, hi, I was thinking about you. You were on my mind. That's the words they use. That's never what they're calling for. So anyway, this moon brings into light that energy. Now, a lot of you, I want to ask if this week, if you've noticed as the buildup toward the new moon, were you confronting some fears? Were you wrestling with some ugly stuff? Were you noticing? I had a couple of nights where it was like, oh God, I literally got an hour's sleep because my mind just boom. And I want to talk to you about the mind thing with Scorpio as well. But if you were dealing with that this week, you're right on par with the energies of what Scorpio does and what the new moons do. But Scorpio sort of takes you down the corridor, if you let it, to confront whatever it is that's scaring you, whatever it is that is the deepest fear. And it's kind of wanting to grab you by the hand. It's a Medusa myth. Medusa, there's a lot of theories about Medusa, but one of them was that her look of terror, the reason you couldn't look at her and be turned to stone and not be turned to stone, was because she was raped violently by Poseidon. And that was the look on her face. That's one of the interpretations. And so she represents that sort of desire to look the truth, like our inability, afraid to look the truth in the face. It'll turn us to stone. We freeze. We get terrified. Scorpio, and how did they kill Medusa? Through reflection. Perseus, I believe it was, had to look at the reflection, and he could track her and kill her, or cut off her head. I guess she still stayed alive. And through reflection. That's the point. So Scorpios have this thing where I want to say an unevolved Scorpio. When you're young and you're Scorpio, it's sort of like you're allowed to take your judgments and sort of cast them out. Like, you know everything about everybody emotionally. You know, that's what a Scorpio does. And the thing is, you might be right in your perception because you're acutely perceptive, but you could be wrong in your interpretation. So the logic is perfect, but it's completely not true. In other words, I used to tell this story too as an example. When people used to come into the store and I was a new store owner and I have Scorpio rising, Saturn in Scorpio, Moon in Scorpio, like that's what I'm confronted with in public. And people would walk into the store and I'd be like, if they didn't look at me and say hi, I would be offended, right? But what are they wanting? They're wanting someone to look at them and say hi, right? And so I was like, look down, like, and I'd go tell John, God, they don't even, people are so rude. And he's the one that said sometimes fear, God bless John, right? Fear can look like anger, can look like disgust. It has a lot of different faces. And it's the first time, literally the first time, I was fairly young, in my late 20s, that I looked at people with a different attitude, like, oh my God, they literally might be afraid. And once my little Cancer heart knew that I'm looking at fear, it's not anger, I'm looking at fear, I was able to go toward them. And I became a better store owner. I became a better customer service person. Like, I got it. And years of doing it, you get it. People come in with that wall up. They don't sell me anything. Don't talk to me. Leave me alone. Da, da, da. That's what I come in with usually. I saw that once in my nephew, who shockingly to me, after years of me doing what I've done, when people would ask for help, he was literally almost aggressively abusive with them. I was like, wow. I mean, the fear was palpable. So Scorpios look, and then they assume that everybody sees what they see. They assume that the world knows what they know. And so wherever you have Scorpio in your chart, and you have Scorpio in your chart, okay, we have all the constellation belt goes around every one of us, even though it might be intercepted, blah, blah, blah. You have it. If you notice where you have it, that's where most of this energy occurs for you. And so where your defenses are high. Why are Scorpio defenses high? Well, they're vulnerable. They feel this deep emotion, deep attachment. So it's almost like any water sign is, water signs can be pretty hateful. All signs can be, I get it. I have to always qualify that. I don't know why, but I'd like to, because it's not just picking on the water signs, but we can be particularly hateful because why? We're particularly vulnerable. If we merge, if we love, if we commit, if we open to you, you own us. Every water sign. Okay? And so we learn. I'm not letting that in too fast. Nope. And it gets meaner and meaner and tougher and tougher. And for me, it's like it became pretty. Like, I remember I retell so many stories, but I remember near the end of the store, people would come in. I was so burnt to a crisply, crackly crunch. And I was so tired of people, like I was just tired of retail. I was tired of people nickel and diming me. I was tired of the disrespect. I mean, I saw the lens was so negative. And I remember a woman asking me what this little rock of purple did. It was a quarter stone of amethyst. And I said, it's a rock. It'll do what you want it to do. And I know John heard that, right? He was upstairs and he runs downstairs and he whispers in my ear, go take a break. And then he spent like almost an hour, 2 hours with this person. Great segue into, I'd had it. Water sign burnt to a crisp. I can't merge with you. I don't want you in my nervous system. I already know the answer to the question. I already know what's going to happen when that does. And so it was, though, about being completely spent. And Scorpios in general, and so I want you to understand this part of this. The reason I'm talking about it is because we're all being showered with that energy today with the new moon. It's relevant because if Scorpio's opposite is air. Like water understands the least about air. And what that means is what it shows up as is we become the most judgmental, the most unobjective, but hold to our beliefs. I have talked to Scorpios. I have so many in my life. And I'm like that too. But when the decision is made, it's made. There's no talking around it. There is a grip so tight, and it's fear, but the mind is made up. It's the most unobjective you can be. I don't care. I hate them. That's it. And it's like, okay. And it's a defense, obviously, but using it is so useful. And how do you use that? Well, you look around and see where you're holding yourself in prison. All of us. When I wake up in the middle of the night and I have thoughts rolling through my head that are just about as torturous as they can be, about worst case scenarios and and they just play out. At some point you go, okay, I get it. There's a part of me that got scared. And you slowly take a look at what's in front of you, what you're projecting on, and slowly get out of your head. Like you're like, the worst time to say, now why is that happening is then. The best thing we can do in that moment is get up, flip on something that's nurturing for you, take a minute, look around, give up that you're going to get any sleep for the moment, and bring some love into the space. Bring some good memories into the space. And it takes effort. But when you notice that you're going down that road, sometimes that's what we have to do. Sometimes you're not even aware that you're in that place. So the moon activated that, and I put the moon's chart on my own Facebook page, which was, let's see, I think it's at 20 degrees of Scorpio. If you know where that is in your chart, that 20-degree point hit last night. It's next to Mars. And we're going to see this, and it's very significant that it's next to Mars. It's very significant that it's opposing Uranus, because there is this element of like something I feel like I don't have control over happening in there. Okay, it's a buzz. It's like electrified. And as you're walking through that, as you're observing that, okay, as you're watching how, oh my God, I do feel a little more reactive. Oh, I feel a little more scared, or I feel whatever it is, fill in the blank. As you do that, you're kicking up more and more of that observer. You're separating yourself more and more from the feeling of it, and you're moving into this pseudo objectivity. Oh, look, I am experiencing this. Oh, I'm feeling dissociated. I'm feeling anger, and all of it being okay. It's like now you have the observer kicked in. May not necessarily change anything you're doing, but it does, on a very core cellular level, stop the progression of it. And it's really interesting to note. If you've ever done that, if you've ever gone, I'm just in a bad mood, I'm just, and it's like, it sort of minimizes that you go, like, rather than Why am I in a bad mood? What do I need to do to fix it? Sometimes it's just the facts. Scorpios are really good at that. And so wherever Scorpio hits, you're also really good at that. I want to take a look and see how you guys are doing real quick and get into a little more about what this Mars-Uranus thing could be, because I've gotten a lot of letters and a lot of feedback about people being very afraid of that. And of course, I'm grateful that you write me, because I'm not afraid of those things. It's like they happen regularly. All that stuff happens regularly. So, we get to look. Okay, let me see how you all are doing here. I just got back. Okay. I love that people are wishing Lynn the happy birthday, because you're a special person, Lynn, to many people. You support a lot of people. You can just feel the love and support that Lynn offers, and I love that. And each of you here typically do that, but it's nice to have a moment where the spotlight gets to be on Lynn on her day. Karen's loving the new moon. My Scorpio man is home. Oh, that's sweet. I love that, Karen. Good. Nadine, good morning. Getting ready with my party. Hat for Scorpio birthday tomorrow. Oh, Nadine, yay. Look at you Scorpios announcing your birthdays. That is it's about progress. It's so growth oriented. You're sharing your day. Do you remember times when you weren't willing to share your birthday? It was like, not the spotlight over here. And you maybe don't. Maybe you have the sort of mitigating aspects in your chart. But happy birthday, Nadine. I'm not going to get to talk to you tomorrow, but we have a Scorpio clan here. I do. Wherever your moon is, you tend to like that sign, right? And wherever your Venus is, you tend to like that sign. You tend to do well with them. I have my moon there. I also happen to have Saturn there. So I remember thinking, Scorpios never not only scared me, I think I was the only person that knew how to scare a Scorpio with my little Saturn. But it's fun to watch people go, like, their stories about Scorpios and their stories about like their terror of them. And I have seen, and it doesn't bug me. I knew a Scorpio that were a couple, a man and a woman, and they had gotten married. I think they were actually born on the same day. And they were like typical twins in the sense of opposites. Like often you'll see in astrology, two people born on the same day, within minutes apart, will take on subconsciously different, like you'll see, the traditional, you'll see the liberal and the conservative, or you'll see the Christian and the secular, and you'll see whatever. But sometimes you'll see them identical, right? Because they're just learning, they're just tight. These two were the opposite type, and it was really fun to watch. It was super special, but they would say how their friends are terrified of them because they aren't afraid to get into a dark conversation. It reminds me of one time we had card games at the store. We love playing cards. Used to love a lot. I still love it. I don't get the opportunity as much as I used to, but we'd always set up the back kitchen table at the store, and we'd play spades mostly, and sometimes hearts. But I remember one time John walking down there, and we realized, I think Mo was there and our friend Molly was there. Everyone had a Scorpio moon. Everyone. There was like 8 people in the room. And John walked in, and I said, John, we just figured out everyone has a Scorpio moon. And he said, yeah, that's why I'm getting water and I'm getting out of here. He turned around and walked out. But it was so much fun because you don't care. Like the Scorpios, when you're in a room of Scorpions, you sort of like, you're not afraid to cuss. You're not afraid of judgment in that moment. You're not afraid to tell the truth. You're not afraid to talk about your stuff. It was fun. And it was interesting. And I know not every Scorpio, I know I'm stereotyping a lot. This was just the Scorpio moons in the house. We had so many. It was really fun. Jackie Walsh, welcome to the house. I'm so glad you're here. And Pamela, if I haven't said hi to you, hi. And Denise, welcome. Lori Love's in the house. Hi, Lori. Lori Love said, Scorpio rising here. Yes, we can be very bitchy. It's kind of like interesting when it's like Virgo, when Virgos reach their max point, when some of the more earthy, watery signs, when they reach their point, that's what comes out. It's that complaining energy. It's that negative. It's like, don't get near me. It's like sharp as attack. And a lot of that is you're to capacity. You're just filled. It's like, okay. And so giving them a little space when you know you're going to, and that people want to, like who wants to be around it, it often will pay off. If you go check out Lori's Facebook page, Lori, I don't know if they're still voting, but Fabulous After 40, I think, or something like that. If you can vote and you haven't voted, if you're not loyal to somebody else, go check out Lori Love's page and support her if you can. She's the show after Christina LaFrance, after me. Charlene, loving the Scorpio energy, enjoying creative inspiration. Yeah, we don't talk a lot about the creative part of Scorpio, which is insanely deep. And I'm going to get into that. I will. Kay Dragon's in the house. Hi, Kay. Welcome. Kay is an advisor at One Two Listen as well. I'm getting better at not answering the phone when family calls, Karen says. Yeah, right. I mean, it never is what it's going to be. And if they need you that bad, they figure it out. I never want to be that type of person that tells everybody else bad news. It's just gross and wrong. Truly. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like, I don't, it's so true. And there is a certain addiction in it for a lot of people. I think I was one of them where it was like, oh, I'm going to call and tell them, guess what? And it's like, oh, and now it is, I just see it as gross, and it's not fun to just suddenly change somebody's trajectory. I almost like better at keeping it from them, especially if I hear somebody's in a good space. I don't want to be the person to take that away. Good spaces are so hard to find. Geraldine said, I have not slept more than 3 hours a night for a week. Lots of scary stuff. Leave my money alone. Uranus hitting my second house. Taurus just kill me. Geraldine, I get it. And it's sometimes all we do, just like you're like what you're doing, except the fact that if you go to bed, you might wake up with it, and your mind's racing, and you sort of remember this moment where we get a little chuckle out of the fact that we're sharing a space, and it happens. It's like, gosh, the same thing. And it becomes ludicrous after a while, and it becomes beautiful to be distracted, to share with people. But sometimes at night when you're back to your own thoughts in your own head, it's not so fun. And I really want to emphasize the ability for us to simply recognize it. Okay, here it comes, and almost like my observer is a loving cynic. Like, oh, okay, here you are. And I'm really appreciating his ability to sort of just sit with me while it's happening, more and more. I hope I can bring you that, Geraldine. Karen, at my last job in managed care, I said I would rather get beat up than take another call. I realized there were some better options. Karen's a Virgo. You'll see that humor just slip in there, and she never fails to make me laugh. Most of you here do. Raven's in the house. Hi, Raven. Raven's all over 1-2 Radio, and she's just energetic, fun, deep, playful. You got to check out one of Raven's shows. It's a really joy to hear her. Linus, thank you for being here. She's saying hi to me and Jay. I love that. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for the regular visits. It is actually really nice. And then Nora said, I'm a Taurus and my son is a Scorpio, and he's been trying to scare me for 21 years. Can you imagine the energy in the house lately? I love that. That's absolutely right. And it is Taurus. If anybody can handle the Scorpio thing, it's Taurus, because you guys have an equal and opposite power. It's pretty amazing. And so good for you for creating your full moon child, because to your son, their moon, like you're the full moon. Good morning. I'm a Scorpio. This is Sarah, married to a Scorpio. Oh my gosh, 5 days apart. We are physically connected. We feel we get each other. We are a couple that my friends talk about. What a great relate. Oh, Sarah, that's inspirational. Isn't that fun? I know. I get it. It's like same signs. A lot of people are like, it's too familiar, or, and here approving. Welcome, Judy. I hope you're listening. It seems too familiar. And sometimes people, when they do synastry charts or charts that connect people relationally, they say stay away from too much similarity. Go, like John and I are completely opposite. Our charts even are opposite. I'm at the top. He's at the bottom. He's air. I'm water. And it's a hilarious connection. And he's my dearest, cherished friend. And we had tough moments, but it was those moments, I think, that it made everything like really rich now, and such a depth of appreciation. And, someone that I never get bored being around it sounds corny, but I'm blessed that we have so much that I would meet an astrologer, that somebody that believed in life the way I did, or actually had way more knowledge about it than I did. So I love that, Sarah. Thank you. And it's not, you know what? I like, and I don't want to make anybody feel bad, but I really don't. But I like when there's respect in the connection, when you all are hanging out, like when there's respect there. I like that. I don't know. I just appreciate the kindness that goes both in front of and behind, right? I do. And I understand the need to talk. I like to have moments where we can, our closest friends privately, but that's a special friend you get to do that with, right? Never to the public and never consistently. That's just sort of my thing. Pamela, I've been attending a card reading class, and the person that was reading for me said that something bad was coming for me. As you can imagine, this Scorpio has ruminated on that almost to obsession. Couldn't get too upset at the person. We're just learning. Listen, Pamela, here's my secret. Before you enter any situation with another person that's going to be giving you anything, anything, I have a bubble around me. And it's so potent. It's a it's a bubble. It's sort of a bubble that's sort of a filter, and nothing's allowed in that doesn't get neutralized. Just image that. Okay. And, I remember my learning tarot, and my first time I got the death card for somebody, and I was like, oh my God, is somebody close to you going to die? I mean, I didn't even give it another option. I was just like, and then I just ruined their day. And I think that's why we're so sensitive to it. Lovingly neutralize it in your head. You remember drop the cancel sign, the circle with the slash through it, drop the cancel sign down on the words. Just actually recreate the words and see the cancel sign come down. Just like, this is learning. We're allowed to learn. We're allowed to learn without paranoia. We're allowed to learn without all my little feelers taking it in. And you just basically be the adult in your inner room. Okay. But good for you. I appreciate you sharing that. Anne says, I've been living a lot of fear this week, and I'm afraid that I have created a bigger problem when I thought I was standing up for myself and doing something brave and courageous. So Anne, I get that. I get this one so well. And you shrug your shoulders internally, and you grab that young woman, Anne, and you say, look, we did what we did. Let it play out. Stand behind it. You did the best, whatever. Just be there for yourself a bit. I get it. I've done that. Like, I think I'm standing up for myself, and now I'm the asshole in the room, and it's got misinterpreted. It'll be old news energetically in a day too, whatever. But you don't waver from the shame and the embarrassment that this little part of you is feeling, right? It's so important to bring that observer in, to bring the loving adult in, and to just say, okay, so what? You know what it's like to me? It's like sending I've talked to you all about this. I would be so mad at people, and I'm telling a friend about it, and I send it to the person I'm mad at. Oh God, right? Horrible. Texting the wrong person. And I'd be like, oh my God. Blah, blah, blah. John did that once because I had him so riled up about somebody who was answering me, and he actually wrote the person, and I would think he was going to kill me. I thought he was. And I go, God, it went to the person we're talking about. And he said, oh, well, it's what I was feeling. Oh my God, what a lesson. Okay, it's what I was feeling at the time. Stand beside that. It's okay, and don't ruminate over it. So Lori said, Fab over 40. Yes, the contest is still going on for a few more weeks. And Lori, I've made it to the quarterfinals. If you'd like to vote for her daily, it would be so appreciated. Lori, love you guys. All right, let's see. Denise Francis, Sag Sun, Virgo Moon, Scorpio Rising. Sag Sun, Virgo Moon, Scorpio Rising. Feeling the new moon. Yes, you are. Anytime something crosses the ascendant, welcome, Beth. Happy birthday. I love you, Scorpios are kind of coming in. Ooh, happy birthday, Scorpios. Oh, you guys, big hugs. Lynn says her sun is 20 degrees Scorpio, Mars 15 Scorpio, Uranus in, oh, Lynn, all this stuff is touching you. This energy is very familiar. Did she mention she had a Taurus moon? Oh my gosh, she was born on a full moon. Lynn, that you can feel that particular signature in you. It's very solid. You know what I get from Lynn? That sort of fearless friendship thing. Like she has that, people around you feel that from you. It's fearless and it's constant. Oh my God, Mark, you nailed it from Maya. You just described what's been happening to me since Friday. Facing my fears is the phrase for the weekend for the Scorpio. Thank you for the explanation. Maya, yay. I'm so glad it could touch home. So you guys, the beauty of having something scary is looking at it directly. It's also bringing light to it, sharing it with people, letting people know. That's why I'm so shocked these Scorpios are sharing their birthdays. I always hated telling people my birthday. I just don't know what it is. I think it's just because I had to share it with Dad. Maybe like whatever. We can analyze it to hell and back. And I always felt like I stole his birthday from him. And so it was always a guilty day for me. And I get that it's not true for the most part, but the way they had set it up, it did feel true, right? So I always felt the guilt, like, he had to act like he was blowing the candles on my cake out with me. What happened to his cake, right? Whatever. Virgo moms, she's not going to waste money on 2 cakes. Anyway, I digress. We got to give it air. We give life air. We give these things a chance to get some breathing room and get some love, right? I just remembered last week I had posted the chart and I had mentioned that Uranus was going through something, and somebody wrote me and said, you know what, you mentioned it in the email, but you didn't say it. And so I have a lot to say. Okay, hold on. First of all, Uranus is at 21. It's going to oppose this new moon. I want you to think of Uranus as freedom, surprises. I had a superstition about Uranus. If I made a prediction about Uranus, because by its very nature, it's a rebellion planet, because of its very nature, it wasn't going to do what I think it was going to do. So I started playing this game where, Uranus is going to empty my bank account. I swear, if I could have talked to my younger self today, I'd be like smacking him. Like, you are being so silly. Stop. But so I had the superstition about Uranus. If you make a prediction about Uranus, lie out loud. Uranus will hear you and give you the opposite because it's a rebel. All right. So Uranus is the freedom planet. It's the rebel. It's the one that and it's in opposition to this new moon. And it's opposing a lot of you Scorpios anyway. And it's conjuncting, meaning hitting the same sign as Taurus's. So if you fixed signs, all of us fixed signs have been going through deep changes. Uranus is the breakup planet. It's the one that shatters the thing that we've been holding on to. And so the thing that you're holding so tightly to, if you're not wanting to let it go, and I'm not talking about money or security, it's belief systems, it's dogma, it's things that you just won't let go of. It's resentment, it's regret, it's all those things. Uranus is shaking the tree. And the more you're willing to loosen that grip up a little bit, just even visualize your fist being so tight. And when you finally let it go, like the fingers don't just snap out, they slowly come back. That's what's being asked of us. And it's freedom. Now, Mars opposite that says that sometimes if we, it looks aggressive. It can look aggressive, but because this is an opposition in the sky, they're more cooperative. There's an energy here that's more like there's a lock and key. There's a freedom here. There's a letting go here that we have access to. It's a little easier. when it's in this place, and like this is being laid on us like a weather pattern. And so the Mars-Uranus opposition, which is happening right now, which is surprise, which is a lot. I read somebody say this is war. I shouldn't have even brought it up, but it's like, what? You just love to scare people. Stop this. But then I loved it because of my joke with Uranus. Uranus heard that, is like, And so now, of course, I can't say it out loud too much because Uranus will say to me. So this is the compromise. It's not even compromise. It's when two things come together to form an energy greater than the individual parts. That's what an opposition is. Uranus and Mars are coming together to cooperate in a way that is greater than if they were doing it individually. So that, to me, it is a freedom aspect. It really is. And so that is happening right now. And as it's moving backwards. It's hitting that. It's going to hit that new moon point probably quite soon, if not tomorrow. So I would imagine, let's just pay attention to the news. Let's see what Uranus news is. Don't white knuckle this. Don't worry. Don't fret. Just let's see what it is. There's an aspect happening. The new moon has left a point in space at 20 degrees Scorpio. Uranus is in space at 21.4. Like me, it's going to be at 22 very soon. Let's see what happens. That's tomorrow and Wednesday. Okay? Not a big deal. But actually, we share it together, right? Whatever news we hear tomorrow, the day after, that sounds like freedom news, let's remember this, and we'll talk about it next week. Okay? That's what sharing's about, isn't it? That's what we do. That's the thing about having breakfast with you guys every week. It's sort of like the beauty of being together. It's the beauty of, I love that. I would be with y'all every Monday morning at that buffet laughing, and that's what we're doing. We're at our buffet. So I get to have that. All right. The other thing I wanted to do, and that was my promise that I'd get back to that little point. So just keep an eye on this freedom aspect coming up. Wherever Uranus is in your chart, wherever it is, it's breaking the way you held things. It's whatever your grip is, whatever it is that wherever Uranus is, that house, that's just shaking you up. It's got to shake you up. If it's the money house and you feel like everything is dependent on your well-being, and who isn't dependent on money well-being? But Uranus might help you get rid of the irrational fears. It can also help you see there's other ways, okay? Different things. So we have to, we have to believe that it's reflecting what's already in us, not a thing of what's coming. I'm a Taurus, and my mind goes on and on at night if I wake up. I know, Patricia, gosh, isn't that funny? And the beauty of that is, to me, Taurus is with an active mind. It's just sort of like staying out of the body zone. Like it's a way to stay up high instead of coming in and sort of checking in on all the body parts, or, I always picture right then and there, if you had a way to, a little portable massager just to sort of like bring some attention to your feet or bring some attention to your leg, that kind of thing. But, when a Taurus mind goes, it's, I want to say it's not your strong point. But I don't mean that as your mental strength isn't strong. I mean it as your strength is in your body. And so the mental thoughts will be easier. I hope. I hope for you, easier to bring in a little bit. You probably have some air in your chart anyway, but yeah, it's nice that you can observe that and then do what you can to do some breathing to bring you back a little bit towards your body. And I get it, but I think Taurus mind activated is when they feel most threatened, like their physical environment's threatened. So then we have to come up with some ideas to comfort you. Okay. And I know you know how to do that. Okay. Lynn, I'm glad I made you laugh. That's so fun. All right. I think, let me see. All right. Good. So last time I talked to you about the cycles of Saturn, we talked about the first 30 years of life and how the first 7 was the first crisis that we enter, and the When we're 15, it's the opposition. We're too young for some things, yet we're considered too old for others, if you go back to that sort of energy. And the third phase is where we're recognized as an adult, but we really can't yet truly walk on our own. And all the things that come with that. And the 30-year cycle is the return, where you're finally able to be productive, and you might have to let go of some of the things that were holding you back. It could be a marriage. It could be a divorce. It could be, whatever. But it's about your life now taking a turn, that you want to settle into something. And it does it again. The 30-year cycle starts again at the Saturn return, right? So we go into it again, and where the first phase again is dealing with authority and family, and where do I fit in, right? Well, in the third one we do, which is about 56 to 60, same thing happens, only you're kind of aware that this might be the last full Saturn run. And so this used to be where, you enter your wise phase, right? But times have changed, and you're kind of like now questioning what is going to be your value. So on the second Saturn return, we start looking at being productive again, and we go through the same thing. Okay. So, because we're living longer, the first crisis then becomes, the opposite of whether you're usually too young during the first square when you're 7, and now it's like, am I too old to do that? And you question that and you challenge it. So you question the age thing. And in the opposition is kind of where like at 16, where you were considered too young to do something, but too old. Same thing in reverse. Like, am I too old to do this? This is, I think, the Biden thing right now. They're asking him that question. The world's asking that question. Are you too old? And so, imagine that happening at, when you right before 70, that sort of square for you, that opposition for you right there. Right. And no, it's right before 80, when you're being asked that question. It seriously is right around, it's Biden's late for the Saturn opposition, but, it's right. It's that same energy where we ask, and Trump is being asked the same thing. Are you guys like, are you getting like, should you be, blah, blah, blah. And so that's the stuff that we face when we enter that third Saturn cycle. Okay. And it's just like all the others. If you can track them, because one is the Saturn square, where Saturn's in the same energy as, I don't want to use it's like the same modality. So Saturn's in Pisces right now. So maybe you were born, say, with Saturn in Sag. And so you'd be going through your third Saturn square. And then it goes to the opposition. So when Saturn enters, it's in Pisces right now. So when it enters Virgo, you'll be at the Saturn opposition, things like that. So anyway, I didn't want to bog you down with that, but I did want to give a little closure to the third Saturn cycle is a big one that works just like all the other Saturn cycles in that sort of phase. Every 7 years it changes. And so when you've had your Saturn return 7 years later, is when the next cycle hits. Okay. The other thing you got to keep in mind too is when Saturn or any planet hits that rising sign of yours, big change. Okay. And so that's going on simultaneous to all the other Saturn things. And that's why some people's Saturn returns were nothing, but other people's Saturn returns were like, oh my God, on top of that, this happened. That's because where Saturn's doing it in your chart. Okay. A lot of you know Mark's Power Peak. I hope you'll subscribe to it. You go to 12house.com and get on that mailing list. It makes a difference. It really does. But this week, the Power Peak, the password was one word, new moon, all lowercase. And if you go there, I wanted to review a little bit of the events happening this week. CA works her butt off for this. Okay. She writes this weekly. She has not missed a week. She has a very busy life. Bless her heart. I mean, it's amazing. So that's why I want you to sign up. I want you to appreciate it for her sake, for all of our sakes. And then we have people like Mo, who writes every week without missing, Ginger, Gracie, Kelly, all writing articles, and they never miss a week. Very rarely miss a week. So this week, what I want you to understand is that this is the Scorpio moon energy, right? It's going to go into Sag, but that means that when we hit that Sag energy, which I love, we go into Capricorn by Thursday, which is tough. I'm sorry. It's just tough. It doesn't have to be awful tough. It's just hard because it's sort of sober. And so what I want you to do is have plans for being productive Thursday and Friday, because that will make a difference. Just productive. Like if you're thinking about what day should I blah, 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 pick Thursday and Friday. You'll be in the flow. Okay, so I'm telling you to live life like Mark, right? But you might love the Capricorn moon and look so forward to it that that's the day you want to go have fun. That works for me to hear. So please do. So the weekend is full of Aquarian rebellion. And that's with the moon. And you know what's really fun is it's fun to know if there are planets that are switching signs or anything happening. No planets are changing signs this week. There's a few planets that are retrograde, which is common. But those retrograde planets in the winter, like this is really fall right now, but in the winter, they start going direct. So we want to look forward to some of these planets moving forward, especially excited that Pluto has moved forward, and it's going to be in Aquarius in January for 9 months. I'm excited about that, right? Up till election day. So it's fun. It's fun. And we have to find our humor, you guys, with each other and with everything, right? And love and being kind, watching things that support you. I'm watching crazy stuff anyway right now, but that supports me. I won't tell you yet. I feel like I'm plugging my crazy TV stuff, but The Curse with Emma Stone, I'm really enjoying. It's crazy. It's weird. It's like these people are not good people, but they tell themselves they are. And I think that's what makes it powerful. And I think for that reason, it's good for everyone to watch. I really think that's what it's about for me. You guys are helping me so much today to face it and look at it from different angles. Thank you, Anne. That's so sweet. Okay, she said, thank you, Mark. I have to say I did receive good support through colleagues and supervisors, but I'm just not sure that there wasn't a better way to go about it. There's always a better way, Anne. That's the thing I want you to understand. There was no hate when I did that, just rather wanted to defend that child in me. That was the intention anyway. Get it. I so get it. And like if your child came home and said, I did it, I made a fool out of myself and nobody understood, all that would matter in that moment is you going, it happened. Let's breathe through it. It's going to pass. And you stay solid with the embarrassment and shame, because this is shame. This is, to me, this is the basis of it. It's about being ashamed, and it's about feeling misrepresented or misread. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I'm feeling that one pretty strong. So this is the opportunity to where, and that's why I said those things about when you send when I sent the notices to the wrong people, or when I embarrassed myself, or when I felt like I was misrepresenting what I really wanted to say, there'll be a moment. And what you do is intend for that with this little girl in you. Intend for that moment to show up where you'll have an opportunity to get that completely clear. But then in the meantime, help her let it go. Like help her let it go. And then it's like everything else, life takes over again, right? And anyway, I don't mean to lecture you, and I just feel you. And I really appreciate that you are getting some support and taking a breath with it. And sort of we have to find the so what in what's so. In the most embarrassing moments of our life, or in the most egregious, or the most where we're misrepresented the most, and those people will always see me like that now. We have to breathe in that and find the so what in it, the wink. Like it's your television series episode where the world gets you, but in this particular situation, maybe not so much, but I don't think I think that's going to change anyway. Okay. Lori just ended her second Saturn return during COVID, of course. Well, oh man, at least you had some support to, well, maybe I'll look at it this way. At least you had support to, not be around anybody you didn't want to be. Neptune in Pisces today, 24 degrees, nice trine to Scorpio planets. Also, I think it's keeping, I keep thinking it's softening. Oh, Neptune is definitely softening. There's no question about it. Good call, Geraldine. Good call. For people that have it on, their sun, or on their moon, Neptune, or on their rising, it can be too softening. It can be really tough. But yeah, beautiful softening for sure when things are tough. Try being born right after Christmas. I don't get cake or dinner, just leftovers. Tara. Tara, that's Oliver was born on Christmas. And I always said, he said they made an effort to separate him out from the crowd, but that'd be hard, man. That'd be hard. Everybody's celebrating. And they, should you get twice as much? I think so. Okay. You guys, time is up here. Let me just hit reload, say goodbye, see if there's any last comments or questions. Christina LaFrance is ready to get live here. And Denise, I'm grateful for you. Thank you so much. New Moon Blessings, Quelly, thank you so much. Okay, you guys, listen. Thank you for everything. Have a beautiful week. We'll do the Capricorn moon together. I'll be thinking of you guys Thursday and Friday. Enjoy this new moon. Plant some new seeds, and much love.